Most stories we hear might seem fabricated, but what we have for you today are absolutely true and genuinely astounding. From the woman who gave birth to rabbits to the bizarre tale of Washington's dentures, here are 20 unbelievable true stories that will blow your mind. Number 20. The sleeping sickness. You might have heard about this deadly sickness before. After all, this sickness has inspired countless fictional works, from movies to stories. Imagine a time when people were struck by a bizarre epidemic that turned their lives upside down. Suddenly, individuals from all walks of life were falling into a profound sleep, their bodies trapped in a state of suspended animation. It was as if time stood still for these unfortunate souls, locked away in a world of perpetual slumber. Encephalitis lethargica took the world by storm, leaving doctors scratching their heads in bewilderment. What caused this mysterious ailment? Was it a virus, an immune system malfunction, or something else entirely? The answer remained elusive, leaving the medical community grasping at straws and the afflicted trapped in a state of uncertainty. Number 19. Car gone nuts. Now here's why you should always check your car, especially when you haven't used it for a long time. A woman in Pittsburgh is cruising along when she catches a whiff of something burning in her car. Concerned, she pulls over and calls her husband Chris for advice. He suggests she check under the hood just to be safe. Little did she know she was about to stumble upon an incredibly bizarre discovery. As she pops open the hood, Holly's eyes widen in disbelief. There, nestled among the engine parts, are nearly 200 walnuts and a squirrel's nest. Yep, you heard that right. The squirrel had turned her car into its personal pantry. Determined to reclaim their vehicle, Chris braves the pouring rain and joins Holly in the rescue mission. They waste no time and head straight to a nearby mechanic, where the car's engine is stripped of the cheeky squirrel's hoard. Can you imagine the mechanic's surprise when they realize they must fish out what feels like half a forest's worth of walnuts from the engine? It's safe to say this was not your everyday trip to the car mechanic. Luckily, the car escaped significant damage, and the couple had quite the story to share. Number 18. Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet has quite a dramatic history. In 1705, the brilliant astronomer Edmund Halley made a daring prediction foretelling the comet's return to Earth in 1758. And you know what? He got it right, well, almost. You see, the comet's reappearance was right on schedule, earning it the name Halley's Comet, even though poor Edmund didn't live long enough to witness his prediction come to fruition. But let's fast forward to the year 1910, when Halley's Comet made its grand entrance once again. This time, however, things took a slightly more alarming turn. Scientists and newspapers alike couldn't resist stirring up a bit of panic and intrigue. Headlines screamed, "Will coming comet collide with Earth?" The world held its breath, anxiously awaiting the apocalypse. It was a true spectacle of mixed emotions, with a touch of cosmic uncertainty thrown into the mix. And so, like many apocalyptic predictions before it, Halley's Comet joined the ranks of false alarms, another notch on the belt of celestial phenomena that threatened our ultimate demise. Number 17. The man who released 24 rabbits in Australia. Australia, the land down under, is a place where Mother Nature decided to show off her most outrageous creations: kangaroos, snakes, and insects that can kill you. But perhaps one of the weirdest creatures in this country is the European rabbit. I mean, just what is this species doing in Australia in the first place? Let me tell you the story of the man who started the infiltration of European rabbits in Australia. This invasive species is no minor threat, jeopardizing the existence of around 300 different plants and animals. Brace yourself for this mind-boggling fact. It all started with 24 rabbits. It all started on Christmas in 1859, when a wealthy English settler named Thomas Austin received a gift from his brother back in England, 24 rabbits. Fast forward to today, and Australia grapples with an astonishing 200 million rabbits. These furry fiends cause a whopping $200 million in agricultural damages each year, leaving farmers and policymakers scratching their heads in search of solutions. It's a real-life rabbit revolution that shows the power of a seemingly innocent introduction gone horribly wrong. Number 16. Baboon working at the station. Get ready for a jaw-dropping story from the 1880s in South Africa. Meet James Edwin Wyde, a peg-legged railway signalman who stumbled upon something truly surreal: a baboon driving an ox cart. Impressed by the primate's skills, Wyde named this baboon Jack and made him his pet and personal assistant. Jack's talents didn't end there. He pushed Wyde to and from work in a trolley, helped with household chores, and even operated the rail switches with precision. Jack's skills were impeccable, earning him an official employment number and a wage of 20 cents a day, along with a weekly half bottle of beer. Talk about an unexpected employee. Unfortunately, as time passed, Jack's health deteriorated, and he passed away in 1890. But his legacy lives on, an astonishing 9 years of flawless work without a single mistake. Number 15. The military bear Mascot. This is Wojciech, a remarkable brown bear known as Soldier Bear. This animal found himself in the care of the 22nd Transport Company's artillery division in the Polish II Corps. He was discovered as a cub in the mountains of Persia by Polish POWs. Lieutenant Anatol Tarnowiecki decided to keep him, as the bear had a calming effect on the soldiers. Wojciech became a beloved unit member, participating in their daily routines, including smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, and play wrestling. As the Polish troops were released to assist the Allies in Italy, Wojciech accompanied them and officially enlisted as an honorary soldier with the rank of private. He even helped carry ammunition boxes to the front lines and allegedly assisted in loading guns. After the war, Wojciech found a new home in Scotland at Winfield Airfield, where the 22nd Company was stationed. He left a lasting impression on the camp's inhabitants and the local community, with children taking turns riding on his back and attending dances with the soldiers. However, when the soldiers began to disperse, the decision was made to send Wojciech to Edinburgh Zoo, marking the end of his human-like life. He spent his retirement there, cherished by soldiers who visited him and perked up at the sound of familiar Polish voices. Number 14. The woman who gave birth to rabbits. This story from the 18th century involves rabbits, childbirth, and a whole lot of deception. Mary Toft, a humble servant, sends shockwaves through her family when she suddenly goes into labor. But here's the twist. Instead of a human baby, she produces rabbits. Yep, you heard that right, rabbits, live little rabbits. Mary claimed she had an intense craving for rabbits, and from that moment on, she claimed to have dreamed about rabbits and developed an insatiable appetite for them. And guess what? She genuinely believed that her consumption of rabbits led to these miraculous births. Medical practitioners at the time had different opinions regarding the truth behind this strange phenomenon. However, the reality was a bit different. Mary Toft eventually had to come clean. She admitted that she had ingeniously inserted the dead rabbits into her body, pretending to give birth to them. I wonder what compelled her to do it. Was it just for laughs, mental illness, or to garner fame and hopefully some money? Number 13. George Washington's false teeth. You might have heard the news that George Washington had wooden dentures, but how accurate is this news exactly? But what's the truth behind the seemingly fascinating stories behind George Washington's dentures? Contrary to popular belief, the historians at the George Washington Mount Vernon Estate and Museum revealed that it's not the case. While Washington's dentures may have had an appearance resembling wood, especially after some staining, they were not actually crafted from timber. So what exactly were they made of? Well, during his lifetime, Washington had quite an assortment of dentures, both full and partial, constructed from various materials, from his own extracted teeth to those sourced from fellow humans and even the filed-down teeth of cows and horses. Washington's dentures were an amalgamation of different components. Ivory and metal alloys, including lead, tin, copper, and silver, also found their way into the mix. In fact, Washington was so concerned about preserving his original teeth that he kept a collection of his pulled teeth locked away in a desk drawer at Mount Vernon. In a letter to his distant cousin Lund Washington, who temporarily managed the estate, he even requested that the teeth be wrapped up and sent to him in Newburgh, New York. It's fascinating to unravel the truth behind this historical dental mystery. The misconception about Washington's wooden dentures persisted for quite some time, even making its way into textbooks. However, it seems the notion stemmed from ivory teeth becoming discolored and resembling wood to observers. So let's bid farewell to the wooden teeth legend and appreciate the intricate craftsmanship and resourcefulness that went into creating Washington's unique set of dentures. History has a way of surprising us, doesn't it? Number 12. The audacious bet. Sometimes real-life stories can be just as astonishing as works of fiction. In the wild streets of New York City in September 1956, a World War II veteran-turned-daring pilot named Thomas Fitzpatrick decided to test the boundaries of possibility, despite lacking the proper credentials and experience. After a night of heavy drinking with his friends at a local bar in Washington Heights, Fitzpatrick bet that he could land an airplane safely at the nearby Idlewild Airport, now John F. Kennedy International Airport, without any flying experience or authorization. Fitzpatrick broke into the Teterboro School of Aeronautics in New Jersey, stole a single-engine airplane, and took off into the night sky. Surprisingly, he managed to navigate the airspace over New York City and safely land the aircraft at Idlewild Airport, just as he said he would during the drunken session inside the bar. Much to the astonishment of onlookers and airport personnel, Fitzpatrick's audacious escapade did not go unnoticed by the authorities. He was arrested, and his actions were widely publicized in the media. But the incident didn't deter Fitzpatrick from repeating his incredible feat 2 years later. Fitzpatrick was challenged by a drinking companion who doubted his feat, unwilling to let his reputation be tarnished. Fitzpatrick did it again, against all odds. Number 11. The hungriest man in the world. Let me introduce you to Toddler, the man with an appetite that defied all reason. This guy could eat like nobody's business, devouring whole mountains of food in one sitting. And get this, he didn't just stop at regular meals. He chomped down live animals too, as if they were mere appetizers. Yikes! His diet included everything from cats and dogs to snakes and lizards, even downing stones and corks. Despite stuffing himself silly, Toddler stayed as skinny as a twig. It's like he had some secret superpower. His skin hung loose around his stomach, expanding like a balloon when he ate, but always snapping back when he was done. Now imagine the confusion and bewilderment of doctors and scientists back in the day. They were left scratching their heads, trying to figure out what made Toddler tick. They ran all sorts of tests, but his insatiable hunger and unusual body remained an enigma. There's even a rumor that he ate a 14-month-old baby in the past, but hey, let's not dwell on that too much. Pretty scary to imagine if you ask me. His strange story remains one of the most bizarre cases in medical history, leaving modern scientists as baffled as those from his own time. Number 10. Missing brain of a genius. On April 18, 1955, the world bid farewell to Albert Einstein, the brilliant physicist who rewrote the laws of the universe. But little did anyone know that the story didn't end there. In a twist that could only be described as eccentric, Einstein's brain embarked on a peculiar journey of its own. Enter Thomas Stoltz Harvey, the audacious pathologist who oversaw the autopsy of the late genius. Seizing a rare opportunity, Harvey made a controversial decision that would raise eyebrows for decades to come. He secretly removed Einstein's brain from his lifeless body and attempted to unravel the underlying enigma. Harvey meticulously sliced the brain into a mind-boggling 240 blocks, keeping the preserved pieces as his own prized possession for over 40 years. Incredibly, he even distributed small portions of the brain to other researchers in the hopes that a deeper analysis might reveal the source of Einstein's genius. Over the years, Harvey traveled across the country with the brain in tow, stored in glass jars and packed in a cider box. Despite numerous examinations, no definitive conclusion was reached about what made Einstein's brain unique. But why, you may wonder, would someone harbor such a peculiar collection of cerebral remnants? The answer lies in Harvey's unwavering belief that there was something extraordinary about Einstein's brain, something that could unlock the secrets behind his unparalleled brilliance. Even today, the fragmented remains of Einstein's brain continue to fascinate researchers, though its ultimate mystery remains unsolved. Number 9. Spicy bird. There are more than 8 million classified species of animals worldwide, and scientists believe there are still millions left to be described and classified. Yep, you heard that right, millions, and so it's no wonder we're always amazed whenever we see a strange-looking animal. But this incident will help us remember that sometimes strange things happen. A peculiar incident unfolded when concerned members of the public rescued a herring gull that appeared to be a bright orange bird. Little did they know it was actually a seagull that had found itself completely coated in curry or turmeric. This surprising discovery took place as the gull was spotted on the A41 and promptly taken to Tiggywinkle's Wildlife Hospital in Haddenham, Buckinghamshire. Upon examination, the hospital staff confirmed that the bird was doused in curry or turmeric, leading to its unusual appearance. The gull, affectionately named Vinny after a spicy vindaloo curry, was carefully cleaned by the dedicated staff. Thanks to their efforts, Vinny's condition significantly improved, and he began to look much healthier. The Wildlife Hospital couldn't help but remark that this was one of the most peculiar cases they had encountered in quite some time. With Vinny's recovery progressing well, it's anticipated that he'll be released back into the wild in the near future. This unique incident of a curry-covered seagull has undoubtedly left a lasting impression on the Wildlife Hospital. It serves as a reminder of the unexpected situations that can arise in animal rescue and rehabilitation. Number 8. Woman's ring disappears. Have you ever had a nightmare that was so realistic you thought it was real? Hear the story of Jenna Evans. Jenna is a 29-year-old woman whose dreams took an unexpected turn. In a bizarre twist of events, Jenna found herself on a speeding train with her fiancé Bobby, facing a dangerous situation. To protect her precious diamond ring from imaginary bad guys, she made a split-second decision that would leave her in awe. During her dream, Jenna swallowed her engagement ring. Yes, you heard that right. But here's the kicker. When she woke up in her California home, the ring was nowhere to be found. Panic set in as she realized her unconscious escapade had turned into a bizarre reality. Without skipping a beat, Jenna explained the situation to Bobby, and the couple raced to the nearest hospital. Now picture Jenna struggling to contain her laughter and tears as she recounted the incident to bewildered medical professionals. An X-ray scan confirmed the unbelievable truth. A 2.4-carat ring resided in Jenna's stomach, It was clear that leaving it up to fate was not an option. With determination in her heart and the promise of a long-awaited wedding, Jenna had a successful operation. As she awoke from anesthesia, her tears of relief flowed uncontrollably. So the next time you have a pretty realistic dream, be sure to check your accessories. You might be missing some. Number 7. Benjamin Franklin and electricity tricks. Now, get ready to be shocked by this story about Benjamin Franklin. It was the year 1743, and Franklin, already a successful entrepreneur in the printing business, found himself captivated by the mesmerizing demonstrations of scientist showman Archibald Spencer. Eager to explore the world of electricity, Franklin began replicating these electrifying tricks in his own home. His guests became unwitting participants in his electrifying experiments and practical jokes, like creating static electricity shocks with a simple tube or orchestrating the illusion of a swinging spider suspended by electrified wires. Amidst all his electrifying antics, Franklin sought a practical application for this newfound fascination, and so he hatched a daring plan, a dinner party that would truly shock his guests. Imagine sipping wine from glasses charged with electricity, delivering a subtle jolt with each sip. These jars, filled with water and equipped with conducting wires, were charged by the friction of a rotating glass plate against leather pads, generating an electric spark. So as you're prepping your Thanksgiving turkey, take a moment to appreciate the electrifying spirit of Benjamin Franklin, who was willing to go to shocking lengths in pursuit of knowledge. Number 6. Raising the level of Chicago. In the mid-19th century, Chicago was a city in a bind. Built on a swamp, it struggled with proper drainage, turning its streets into muddy messes and breeding grounds for disease. Determined not to abandon their beloved city, Chicagoans devised a bold and audacious plan. They would raise the entire city to make room for an underground sewer system. Yes, you heard that right. They lifted buildings, houses, and entire blocks using jack screws and hydraulic lifts. It's incredible to think about the lengths people would go to ensure their homes are safe. Buildings were gradually hoisted into the air, their foundations elevated to accommodate the sewer system beneath the streets. And it wasn't just a few structures here and there. Chicagoans lifted massive masonry buildings and even managed to raise an entire block at once. Can you imagine the sight of a whole city block suspended in midair, with businesses continuing to operate inside? But the daring feat didn't stop there. Those buildings that no longer fit with the city's vision were not wasted. They were placed on rollers, pulled by horses, and relocated to the outskirts of town, where they continued to serve customers as they rolled down the street. Number 5. Mysterious TV Fiasco. Now, this will leave you scratching your head wondering what's up. Imagine waking up one fine morning to find a bizarre sight on your front lawn, a collection of vintage television sets scattered about, as if a band of TV-headed miscreants decided to play a prank on the whole neighborhood. Well, that's precisely what happened in Virginia. Over 60 classic cathode ray tube TVs straight out of the 80s and 90s mysteriously appeared on porches and lawns in Richmond. Can you imagine the confusion and bewilderment? The residents were left scratching their heads, wondering who had orchestrated such an odd spectacle. This wasn't the first time it happened. A couple of years prior, the folks in Grey Oaks woke up to a similar TV invasion. It seems like an annual tradition for these enigmatic TV bandits. Local authorities, determined to crack the case, analyzed surveillance footage from home security systems, only to discover individuals donning TV sets as masks, leaving no trace behind. The culprits covered their tracks well, wearing gloves and jumpsuits to avoid leaving any fingerprints. With their identities hidden behind these television helmets, communities are left pondering the meaning and intentions behind these puzzling installations. The uncertainty adds to the intrigue, creating an atmosphere of anticipation and speculation. It's like they stepped out of some absurd sci-fi flick. Number 4. Thomas Edison and cat videos. Thomas Edison, the renowned inventor who brought us the electric light bulb, had more to offer than just groundbreaking technology. Beyond his notable achievements, he was curious about the world of strange short films. In fact, after inventing the kinetoscope, the early film camera, Edison set out to test its capabilities by capturing a series of peculiar scenes. These included a film featuring a trapeze artist in the act of disrobing, and another showcasing the controversial subject of elephant electrocution. Surprisingly, the first ever motion picture copyrighted in 1894 was a seemingly mundane clip titled Fred Ott Sneeze, capturing nothing more than one of Edison's employees sneezing. While the invention of the light bulb undoubtedly transformed modern technology, one could argue that it was not Edison's most significant contribution to the world. Well, if we're taking the opinions of cat lovers. You see, aside from helping science and technology progress, Thomas Edison is also responsible for filming and publishing the first ever cat video, or short film, because the word video wasn't a popular term at the time. This intriguing short film was shot in his Black Maria studio in New Jersey. This 20-second film from 1894 portrays two cats in a boxing match, outfitted with gloves and harnesses inside a miniature ring. These feline pugilists were actually part of Professor Henry Welton's touring cat circus, a troupe that amazed audiences with their bicycle riding and somersault performing talents. Interestingly, the decision to film a pair of fighting cats appears strangely prophetic in light of our current internet culture, where viral cat videos hold a special place. Number 3. Man wins lottery 14 times. If you ask people about their dream or about something they want to experience in their lifetime, many would say, "I want to win the lottery." And honestly, I'd say the same, because who doesn't want money? Am I right? But the thing is, lotteries can be pretty tricky. You spend money every day and you tell yourself it's just a little fraction, but by your 4th year of constantly betting, you've already spent a good portion of money buying lottery tickets. But what if you've already unlocked the code? Stefan Mandel was no ordinary individual. Hailing from Romania, he possessed a brilliant mind for mathematics and an entrepreneurial spirit that propelled him to unimaginable heights. The lottery, in his eyes, was not just a game of chance. It was an opportunity to seize financial freedom and change his life forever. You see, Stefan knew that the odds of winning the lottery were about as slim as becoming the next Hollywood superstar, but he wasn't discouraged, not at all. That's because he knew how to win the lottery 100% guaranteed. So what was his secret? His journey began with a single objective: to secure the funds necessary to escape his homeland. The lottery presented the quickest path to substantial wealth, and Mandel wasted no time. By buying the tickets with all the possible combinations, he secured win after win after win. However, as regulations tightened, Mandel set his sights on the 1992 Virginia lottery, where he meticulously planned and executed the purchase of millions of tickets. His initial successes provided the means to relocate his family to Australia, where he embarked on a mission to refine his methods and attract investors to his cause. He also successfully won lotteries in Australia after relocating, but after getting his 12th win, laws were passed in Australia again, making it impossible for him to push through with his business. And so, Stefan set his sights on the $25 million jackpot prize in Virginia. To secure the winning ticket, Stefan's crew printed out all 7.11 million tickets in Australia and paid to ship them to the US before buying them in bulk. In the end, they got not only the first prize but also dozens of second and third prizes. But let's not forget about the thousands of minor prizes they won. You can say the total amount of what they won was definitely worth all their efforts. It was his last venture, but he ended it with a big bang. Number 2. This juice is a little different. There's a reason why things have labels, and there's a reason why we should always watch what our kids are eating. But sometimes it's hard to do so, especially when you're struggling with a lot of chores or if you're running on 2 hours of sleep. But this story might get you to be extra vigilant if you have a kid. The Smith family is an ideal family from Georgia. It was a typical Sunday, and the family decided to grab something to eat at a local restaurant. Their lunch was going pretty smoothly, but suddenly Aaliyah, one of the kids, began acting differently. They tasted the juice and realized too late that it wasn't juice at all. To the horror of Aaliyah's parents, the toddler had been consuming alcohol. Aaliyah's mother immediately began crying and called 911. Upon asking the servers, Aaliyah's parents were informed that the juice container had the wrong label, and instead of juice, their daughter consumed alcohol. This is like a parent's worst nightmare. Poison control alerted Aaliyah's parents that she had a 0.065% blood alcohol level. For reference, the legal limit for an adult in some states in the US is 0.08%. Hopefully, servers will be more vigilant about what they serve their customers, especially children, in the future. Number 1. The longest musical performance. Did you know that the longest musical performance is scheduled to conclude in 2640, playing for an unfathomable time span of 639 years? Sounds impossible, but yep, you heard that right. This years-long concert began in 2001 and takes place at St. Burchardi Church in Halberstadt, Germany. But how exactly will this be possible? Will there be band members that switch, and will generations replace them as decades pass? Well, not exactly. An automated organ plays a composition by John Cage titled, "As Slow as Possible, ASAP." The organ's mechanics are designed to hold each note for extended periods, sometimes for several years before the next note change occurs. Visitors to the church may hear the same sound for years at a time before a subtle shift finally happens, making each note change a historical moment in its own right. The ongoing performance unfolds gradually, with each note change occurring at irregular intervals, sometimes spanning years. This deliberate pace fosters anticipation, creating an atmosphere where time becomes part of the artistic experience. It's literally the slowest but also the longest orchestra run in the world. It's a performance that challenges our perception of time, pushing the boundaries of what we consider music. Unfortunately, it's time to conclude our amazing journey, but don't worry, the world is full of incredible stories waiting to be discovered. If you have unbelievable stories to share, join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to check out our other exciting content appearing on the screen right now. See you in the next video.